Hi, welcome to Crimsafe Talking Tech. My name's Stuart Sykes. I was the editorial manager at the 2014 Formula One Rolex Australian Grand Prix.
And I'm Rob Van Leeuwen. I was the National Press Officer and looked after the operational side of the media centre for the Rolex Australian Grand Prix.
What you see here is the main international press room for the Grand Prix. This can accommodate 260 journalists from all over the world. Immediately adjacent to this there is a national press room which takes another 70, and across the way from here in a separate building we house the photographers, of whom there are usually 110 or 120. People who are familiar with Albert Park will know that this building, Pit Building 6, in which the media centre is housed, is permanent. But for each event we have to put in temporary facilities to accommodate all the visiting journalists. So each year we have to comply with an operations manual which is provided for us by the FIA, the sports governing body. It can change a little bit from year to year, but basically what we see here is a requirement for every media centre in the Formula One World Championship. While we enjoy all the advantages of living down under, there are some disadvantages which show up at Grand Prix time. One is the time clock, because all of the journalists here are beaming stories out all around the world. So an Australian day of, let's say, 9 till 7 p.m. doesn't quite fit with Europe and with the other side of the world. So what I'm saying is that this is essentially a 24/7 working media facility. Where I am standing now is where the cream of the world's Grand Prix drivers were sitting and facing the world's press. This is another mandatory facility. It's not just here at the Australian Grand Prix. The press conference room, in a sense, is the hub of the whole Grand Prix weekend, with 2 press conferences before the race, 1 after qualifying and 1 after the race itself.
So this is the main reception area for the International Media Centre. The journalists will arrive here, but previous to that they will have been to the Accreditation Centre, which is at the Parkview Hotel, which is off the circuit precinct. The journalists and photographers will have gone through a strict criteria in terms of their accreditation, which is done by the FIA. They then collect their pass and come here to the reception desk, where they're welcomed by some of our staff and then given an internet connection code and a seating location. They'll then move upstairs to the main media room, which we saw earlier on. Now this is the technical hub for the media centre in this building. So in here is all the internet connections, obviously the telephone connections, and by the way it's very cold in here at the moment, and that's obviously to keep this room cool and to make sure that this equipment keeps going for the duration of the event. Okay, so now we're outside the main media precinct, and on my left is the main entrance to the media centre, which you can see. This area is very close to the paddock. So this is the entrance now to the Formula One paddock. So the journalists and photographers have very easy access to the drivers and the teams, and where all the action happens during the race weekend.
Well, I hope you've enjoyed that very brief glimpse inside the workings of the media centre here at the Australian Grand Prix. Rob, I think you would agree that it's a great privilege every year to host the first round of the year.
Certainly, and I think the most important thing is being the first round of the year, that we show off Melbourne in the true colours and professionalism, and certainly set the scene for the teams and the drivers for the rest of the season.
Absolutely. And you can see that we're just 2 young blokes who haven't been doing this very long, but we still get tremendously excited about the arrival, particularly of the new cars, particularly in a season like this when everything is so new.
Buying security screens? Most Crimsafe lookalikes can pop out in just a few seconds, but the real Crimsafe doesn't, thanks to its patented screw clamp. Cheap lookalikes can pop out because they're only held in with a piece of plastic. But Crimsafe screw clamp locks the mesh and spreads the impact. Crimsafe resists attack and corrosion, and now has the ultimate warranty, 15 years. Ask for a demonstration today, because if it's not Crimsafe, it's not Crimsafe.